Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome back to another standard gameplay video, and today we are playing a very nasty Dimir control deck. So a couple of months ago I played a Simic control deck which was focused around Stormchaser's Talent and Season of Weaving. Basically got to enough mana, which I think was 11. You could play Stormchaser's Talent, level it up, get back a Season of Weaving from your graveyard, cast Season of Weaving, to bounce every non-token things and create a token of something, and basically you just copy the odder tokens or other tokens you've got and bounce everything and smash in. It was a very boring deck to play against and quite a boring one to play, but today this is similar, but I think a bit more powerful, quite a lot more powerful, and not as mind-numbingly dull. So Foundations has given us some new interesting cards and reprints. So I think one of the most interesting ones is Time Stop. 6 mana, instant, end the turn. That's all it says. For those who don't know, end the turn does exactly what it says, but it doesn't, it's not like you go to the end of turn step. It just exiles everything on the stack, including Time Stop, so you can't recur it, and the turn just ends. So obviously, if you put a stop on your opponent's upkeep, on your opponent's draw step, you can end the turn before they even draw a card. You can use it as a pseudo counterspell, waiting for them to play out their big thing, and Time Stop to basically exile that and then stop them doing anything else. It's a very, very powerful card. We also have River's Rebuke as a reprint. I love River's Rebuke. Whenever I play a Brawl deck with blue, I always have River's Rebuke and Cyclonic Rift. Bouncing all non-land permanents opponent controls is very, very good. It doesn't necessarily work against, obviously, creatures or things with ETBs or haste creatures, which is why we only have one copy in there. The other, one of the other new cards we have is Finale of Revelation, a X and 2 blue. Sorcery, draw X cards. If X is 10 or more, instead shuffle your graveyard into your library, draw X cards, untap up to 5 lands, and you have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. Then it does exile. I think this is the only Finale that got reprinted in Foundations. I don't know why, but obviously it's a pretty good draw spell, and if we can pump enough mana into it, we shuffle our graveyard back in, untap 5 lands, and just take over the game. And the other new one is Mystical Teachings. I don't know if this is a reprint. I imagine it is based on the art. It's not new. 4 mana instant, search your library for an instant card or a card with flash, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle, and then we can flash it back for 5 and a black. So these are the new cards, and obviously they're all around card draw and disrupting our opponent by bouncing their hand or stopping their turn. But you might have seen they're all quite expensive. We've got 2 6-drops, X and 2 blue, and then 4 and 6 for flashback. And that's where Mind Splice Apparatus comes into play. Mind Splice Apparatus is from, I think it's for X, it will be 1. 4 mana flash artifact, so we can find it with Mystical Teachings. Beginning of our upkeep, put an oil counter on Mind Splice Apparatus. Instant spells we cast cost 1 less for each oil counter on the apparatus. So we get the turn floor, we flash this in at the end of our opponent's turn, we get the counter, everything reduces by 1. So now our Time Stop and River's Rebuke cost 5 on that turn, and obviously it keeps on going down eventually where these just cost 2 blue. So, but it is obviously a pretty slow deck. So the rest of our deck is kind of built up around that. So we have Into the Floodmoor just about as a creature, or anything else if you want to give a fish our opponent a fish. 3 steps ahead for mainly a counter spell, but also card draw, and we can create a token copy of our Mind Splice Apparatus as an artifact. Outrageous Robbery is one of our finishers. I'll get to in a minute. Silver Scrutiny. We have 2 copies of this instead of having 4 copies of Finale Revelation. It does something very similar. It's X and 2 blue to draw X, but we can cast it with flash if X is 3 or less. So if we just want to, spend 5 to draw 3, we can at flash speed. This down ain't big enough. We have 2 copies off to bounce. We only have 2 because our only permanent we want to bounce is Stormchaser's Talent. We don't want to bounce Mind Splice Apparatus. But we can cast it for full cost, obviously reducing Mind Splice Apparatus if we want to bounce 2 of our opponent's things. And then we have 2 copies of Deadly Cover-Up to act as kind of like, instead of River's Rebuke, we can wipe everything, and we have enough card draw to potentially get it. And obviously Stormchaser's Talent gives us a blocker. When we level it up, we can get back an instant or sorcery from our graveyard, so we can get back a River's Rebuke or a Time Stop. Time Stop exiles. Finale of Revelation exiles itself as well. But a Sweeper, Deadly Cover-Up, any of our instant or sorceries that don't exile themselves, we can get back. And yeah, our finisher, really, apart from annoying our opponent to death, which is what happens most of the time, is Outrageous Robbery. It's X and 2 black. It's an instant. Target opponent exiles the top X cards of a library face down. We may look at those and play those cards as long as they're exiled. If we cast a spell this way, we may spend mana as though in mana of any type to cast it. So we can get into our opponent's deck as well as ours with card draw, and then we can just cast their winners, cast their finishers. We can also play lands from them. Sometimes we may want to play this X equals 1 or 2 to see if we hit our opponent's land drop. If we're missing a land drop, we do have 24 lands, but we still sometimes miss land drops. And also the kind of alternate winning condition is we can just exile their entire deck. It's not unusual for us to have 2 or 3 Mind Splice apparatuses out through 3 steps ahead, just playing them out, giving us 5, 6, 7, 8 or more cost reduction. So sometimes we can just put 2 black into Outrageous Robbery, exile 6, or put our entire mana into exile 15, and we can exile their entire library and cause them to mill out. So mana base. So in some of the games you will see Restless Reef, I think, is the black blue creature land, but I prefer to have a land that enters untapped all the time, which is why we only have 2 Dark Slick Shores. Drawing this in the late game and it being tapped can be a bit of an issue, because we do have 1 tap land that enters tapped all the time at Undercity Sewers. You also see Mirrex in a couple of them, and because a lot of our spells require 2 blue or 2 black, so River's Rebuke, Time Stop, Finale, Outrageous Robbery, Silver Scrutiny all require, and Deadly Cover all require 2 of 1 colour, having a card that can only produce coloured mana the turn it enters can be a bit annoying, since a lot of our stuff is also instants. So I took that out, and there we just have Island Swamps, 2 Dark Six Shores. I said Gloom Lake Verge is really, really good, especially with Undercity Sewers, because it counts as an Island Swamp, so it turns on both modes. And then we have a couple of copies of Underground River. They are pain lands, we don't want to hurt ourselves too much. So that's the deck. I don't really like control decks. I hate playing against them, everyone does, but I actually quite like this. It is quite fun to disrupt your opponent when it works, and getting being able to cast Mystical Teachers for 1, flashing it back for 1, getting a couple of time stops, or what you might also want to do is cast Mystical Teachings, get a time stop, flash it back, get another Mystical Teaching so you can cast it again, and so on and so forth. Get a couple of time stops, and when your opponent sees you've got 2 time stops in hand, often they just scoop. So it's one of those decks that it's fun, but it is frustrating. It is not as boring to play as that previous Simic control deck we played a few months ago, but it is very, very powerful. So I had a really good time playing this one. I hope you all enjoy watching it. If you do, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the gameplay. We go first. We're a pretty keepable hand. We do need an extra land for Mind Splice apparatus. And obviously black mana eventually for Outrageous Robbery. And we just bounce there. Llanowar Elves. Well, we can hold up a counterspell now. I think I now just hold up Mind Splice apparatus, unless they play something that we really, really want to counter. They're at 5 mana, that is. Well, let's see what they do now. We can end the turn if they cast something really bad, or we can copy our 3 Mind Splice apparatus as well. I don't mind a fish. We should be able to do this. Oh, well, that's very annoying. Do we have another one? That is not the end of the world. Yeah, I don't want you to have that. Well, I'm going to outrageous robbery now for 4. I'm going to make sure we tap our Mirex. Yeah, I think we just Sunfall. I would have liked to have got up the beanstalk out first, but kind of everything. Let's surveil. I will keep that. We can hold off their Baser with Incubator token. And next turn we can do a big finale of Revelation. They destroy their own, well, their own Caretaker talent that we had. Well, let's... I think we can X equals 10 exactly, which I think I'd rather hold off for a bit. We'll draw. Let's get a time stop. I don't mind drawing a land. That'll do. Well, let's do this for 4. Draw a card as well. Well, now we can do this x equals 10 and still hold up time stop. Well, in fact, obviously we untap all our lands, so and let's not press the right spell. That's the one I meant to do, River's Rebuke. And obviously we have a few ways to deal with whatever they throw at us. And if they do Soul Partition again, we can just counter it. Well, let's play out a Baser. Obviously, we have a lot more cards in hand than they do. Do we have a this town? We don't have a this town in our hand at all. That's kind of bizarre. Let's impend the Overlord, that way we can hold up a time stop and 3 steps ahead. I don't really care about Baser. Although I did gain him life. Let's get back a River's Rebuke. Let's cast a River's Rebuke. Let's swing in for 8. I don't really care about that. Where is one of our counter spells? We'd have to worry about decking. Well, let's see what they've got in their deck. 8, 11. Let's just do this for 14. I'm going to play out of planes. This is quite hard to see what's in our hand. Let's create another copy of our Mind Spice apparatus. Because what we can do now is fetch up another Overwhelming Robbery outrageous robbery. We fetch up another an outrageous robbery, and we might actually be able to cast it for X equals however many they had left in the library, and mill them out. We go first. With an alright hand, we just need one more land and to survive long enough. But if we can survive long enough, obviously River's Rebuke will be really good. I might just finale for one. So when they go land, Novice Inspector, Gleeful Demolition, pump their Warden. Or that. Well, let me outrageous robbery for one, because we can get that back. We just hit a land. And they can buff their Warden. Oh, there's another land. Problem is, we River's Rebuke. Their Shelter by Ghost goes back to hand. They will most likely then take our Mind Spice Apparatus. But it does slow them down a bit. I would really like Deadly Cover Up. Well, let's finale for 4. There's a cover up. So that'll be good for next turn. Goodbye, Shelter by Ghosts. Hello, Shelter by Ghosts. That was the wrong choice. Let us collect evidence. My least favourite card in the game at the moment. And let's see what they draw. Let's get a 3 steps ahead. Let us counter that and create a copy. We can't draw 2 cards. They keep on looking at it. And let's get a time stop. Now they need to look at that. Well, we need to leave 2. So let's, hold on, we've got 5. Black, black, doesn't matter, doesn't matter, doesn't matter, doesn't matter. So that's 3, 4, 9? Should we play out some things of theirs? Yeah, I think that's enough for now. Let's get another 3 steps ahead. And yeah, that match was going to last a few more minutes, I think. But the writers on the wall, I could have mystical teachings or something, but I would have done it on our turn just to pump prowess. We can train troops as well to create, and obviously, which is cost reduction, and then yeah, resident reinforcements. Isn't a spell, is a non-creature spell, so it wouldn't trigger prowess. But then we can even Stormchaser's Talent to get back 3 steps ahead, or Outrageous Robbery, and just steal more of their library. There are 33 cards left in hand. So beginning of our next upkeep, how many mana do we have? 6, 9, 11, plus 9, 20. So we could have Outrageous Robbery for quite a lot. We go first with an okay hand. Still no Mind Splice Apparatus. our opponent roping out of the start again. And they don't take it, obviously. Will bounce their challenge up. They could still have, obviously, a pump spell for the hero. Oh, a big one. Let's see what they do. It's odd seeing that in a mono red deck. Well, I imagine they have Monstrous Rage. Well, we have the Mind Splitter apparatus. Question is, can we survive another turn? Why did it do that? Why? We had to do that now because Mirax wouldn't be able to tap for blue on their turn. The auto tapper there really, really screwed us over. But now we're back in exactly the same position. It doesn't really matter. We need to find a bounce spell. That will work. Let me outrageous robbery for. So we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do it for 4. Just as a blocker. Well, that's a pretty useful draw. So we have 8, 11. Let me do this for 6. And we'll hold up into the Floodmore. We don't have a is this town. No, we don't. Well, let me just Rivers Rebuke. Why? We only have 3 blue. That's weird. They don't have anything else in hand. Well, let's get down another blue source. We'll Dreadmore Ayers, Cacophony Stink Camp. Kill one of their show-offs. And then we can hold up Outrageous Robbery 3 steps ahead and into the Floodmore. Let's counter a spell, draw 2, and copy at Mind Splicer. And we will discard Undercity Sewers. And I think we can 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 12. No. My mouse clearly is off. If I have a shock, I'll be very unhappy. In case they do, I'm going to get back 3 steps ahead. Auto tapper's really weird. That must just be a land in their hand. Well, we can get another time stop. And in fact, this is just lethal. We'll get this town ain't big enough. Yeah, so a very long, grindy game there, but we got there in the end with, well, we're about to kill them with their own stuff. Our opponent goes first, and we have a lot of tap lands. Up against Rakdos. Or we can hold up into the flood more. I think it's the first time I've seen Undead Sprinter being played. The Undead Sprinter having haste is flavourful, but kind of irritating. Oh, they're zombies. Should have given it away, really. Well, I think we have to take the hit and then Mind Splice Apparatus. Hopefully we don't have another Undead Sprinter. Well, this town ain't big enough for full cost. And then River's Rebuke next turn. I want you and you. Well, goodbye. Fortunately, we can't counter their sprinter. And I can't copy the apparatus either. But I imagine they play out the sprinter. Well, I think we X. Can we 5? 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, let's do that. This can give us a chumper. And then we can bounce the sprinter.
For me.
I imagine those create zombies.
Necromancy is a lot like plucking turnips.
Shame we couldn't kill the Reaper. Right, well, let's get time stop. And yeah, well, opponent saw what's coming. We get another time stop. Before they even draw, we end their turn, and then we can do that again. Maybe get down another Mind Splice. Actually, if we don't fetch again, we can time stop and Mind Splice apparatus. And, you know, we just basically go off, and then next turn we can get it and go again, get back Rivers of Rebuke, bounce their entire board, and then outrageous robbery for a huge amount, and probably run away with it.